Chelsea Russo, the athletic. Sorry. What stood out the way, especially defensively, you guys handled Giannis?
I mean, I don't know if handled's the word, right? We gave up. But I thought everybody competed, and, his buckets were tough buckets. I mean, he's one of the most forceful, if not the most forceful player in our league. And like I've said it before, like, he's built for the way the rules are. He's extremely difficult to stop, but I thought we did a good job of challenging, contesting. We tried to take charges on him. But what we did, I thought, we eliminated other people. And, that's when they're at their best, is when he's attack minded. And then everybody else is contributing too. I thought we did a great job of taking the other guys out of the game.
That first half, you seemed like there was a lot of energy from the get-go. In the second half, what did you see of the way that you guys battled through that as they made their runs and just and were able to pull this one out?
Yeah, I thought we held our poise. They're a championship team, right? They're not going to give in. They're going to make their runs. I think in the past, we haven't been able to sustain their runs. Tonight, I think, was a great step for us. We showed a lot of poise. We kept our composure. But the thing that was most impressive to me is we continued to do it together. There was no splintering. There was not one guy trying to do it on his own. We just went back to the basics and executed our stuff and got the looks we wanted.
Off of that, with the togetherness, how have you seen that grow just throughout the season so far, but just especially as you find these games where it is really accentuated?
Well, I think it's about the trust. When you have a newer group of guys and a young group of guys who are still, exploring who they are, to start the season, people are trying to figure out that trust piece of it. And, I think they're believing in one another, and they trust one another to do the right things by each other all the time. We live with some mistakes because that's going to happen. But when mistakes happen with this group, we don't fold, right? We don't collapse. We find a way to band together even more. And that's the trust that you have to have in order to be a successful team.
Tom, you answered a lot of what I was going to ask JB about the poise. In the first half, Evan goes out quick. Kevin comes in and gives you 9 real good minutes there. How big a lift was that just to kind of get things settled down, what have you?
I think, he did a great job on both ends. He has the ability, obviously, to make shots, but he can make plays. He rebounds the ball to finish possessions. But, again, he's one of our guys that's a spark for us off the bench and can give us that lift. And, when he's hitting threes, the guys feel it, and it raises the energy. When he's giving those backdoor passes and, creating for other people, the guys feel it. So I think, it's important that we get him involved and continue to keep him involved.
Always only gained through experience.
Yeah, you have to understand what you're facing, in order to understand how to react. And until you go through it enough, you don't know what it is. And you don't know, individually and collectively, how do you get through it and get to the next step until somebody punches you in the face. And then you got to respond. I thought we did a great job of responding tonight.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
We talked a lot pregame about Drew Holiday, his defense, Brook Lopez's defense, but Jarrett Allen is in that conversation as well. What makes him such an impactful defender for you guys?
He can do everything on that end of the floor. He's an elite rim protector. He's a shot blocker. He can defend the pick and roll. He can switch and guard smaller guys. He can guard big guys. We've used him to chase guys off the 3-point line. It's just his ability to do so many different things. And it's also, that goes back to the trust that everybody has in him. Like, they know he's going to be there to have their back. So it allows our defense to function, at the level that it's capable of, because we know, and the guys know, that Jarrett's going to be there to protect him.
Why do you think he doesn't get the same level of recognition as some of his peers?
I think it's, he's not as public about who he is and what he's looking for. Every day he just goes out and does his job. I don't know, how many TV commercials he has and, social media and all that stuff. But I think he plays a type of basketball that, it's not flashy. It's not pretty. They won't give him his own sneaker deal, but we know how important he is. And if you watch, and I think that's the tough part about it is, a lot of people don't watch the game, as they say they do. because if you watch the game, and this isn't just this year, like to me, there's no way last year he wasn't on an all defensive team. But if you watch the game, like you understand how impactful he is. Last year we had like one national TV game or something. So people weren't watching him. And you got to study a guy like him to understand how valuable he is. Mm-hmm.
Spencer Davis basketball.com on the offensive end, it looked like he was available in the pocket all night. Going back to that vertical spacing conversation that we had before, opening things up for Darius and Donovan, you can get the pull up and you can get the runners there on the right side. Just how much does that make it easier on your offense to kind of, going forward?
Well, obviously he's a threat, and teams have to make decisions what they're willing to live with. Milwaukee is one of the teams that they try to bait you into a bunch of mid-range shots or floaters by keeping that big in the drop. We're lucky that our guys are capable of making those shots at an elite level, and he can make that little shot in the pocket. Our ball handlers can make the pull-ups at a high clip. So again, it's going to force them to make some sort of adjustments. And I think we saw that late, and then we have to be prepared for the adjustments.
Third straight start for Isaac and knocked down a couple early. But the one that stood out to me was the one where he pump faked and put it on the floor and found a teammate. Just having the threat of him shooting from the corner, what does that do just for kind of the wrinkles that you could throw in?
Well, it helps your spacing. But Isaac's a really good basketball player. And I think, we've asked him to be in a specific role, but Isaac is good with the ball in his hands. He's good at attacking closeouts. He's a really good passer. I think it's just, he's accepted a role for the greater good of the team, where the ball's not in his hands as much, obviously because of the guys that we have around him. But Isaac's a really good basketball player, and he's capable of making all types of plays.
Danny Cunningham, ESPN Cleveland. JB, what made Donovan so good tonight despite maybe having a bit of an off night shooting the ball?
He didn't quit, and he understood how to get himself to the free throw line to get himself going. A lot of times in Milwaukee in the past against us has upped their physicality, and we've kind of backtracked a little bit. I thought tonight through their physicality, he kept attacking and keep getting downhill, and got 16 free throws. I don't know if he's had that many free throws this year for us, but when they're going to be physical, you got to stay attack minded. I think he did that tonight.
I don't know if you got the thumbs up from the bench on the challenge or not before you signaled to challenge it, but in that moment, how much trust do you have on the guy that was involved in the play where Kevin was pretty adamant that he wanted you to make them take a look at that call?
Each guy is different. But again, Kevin doesn't ask for it much. So it was, take a gamble with him, and he's one of the guys that I'll gamble with all the time.
Joe G. Coach, you talked pregame about what a tough matchup Brook Lopez was. He's already had a big game against us this year. What did you guys do against him tonight?
I think we got him off the 3-point line. He's hurt us in the past, in the pick and roll game and out in space by knocking down threes. We held him. He just got 3 of them tonight. He made a couple of them, but, normally in the past he's gotten up, 6, 7, 8, and that's been deadly for us because now we're stretched out more. We're worried about his 3, and then Giannis can go create and do what he needs to do. So I think, getting him off that 3-point line was huge.
John Miller, Sports Illustrated Media Group. Coach, with the way that you guys have played at home this year, did you maybe have a different level of comfort or confidence coming into this one, knowing that you had them on your home floor? You can kind of flush the other 2.
Yeah, you learn from the other 2. But again, our guys have fed off our crowd all year long. So the difference is, in moments where, there is a little adversity, you've got this crowd behind us and we've got our fans behind us. And I thought that was huge for us. When you're on the road and sometimes you can be searching for that energy, it's harder. But having our fans behind us, every single time something happened, our crowd got behind us and got us going. And that's the momentum that we've been feeding off all year.
Last one, Chris.
JB, you said before the game that you wanted to give Milwaukee your best punch. Do you feel this qualifies?
Hopefully we got more in the tank. I thought we played well. Again, the third quarter, our defense, I thought we gave up a little too much. But, it's a step in the right direction. And our job is to continue to improve. And I hope that this isn't our best game of the season because we do have room to grow, and I expect us to continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, JB.
Appreciate you guys.
Have a good night.
Game days, except for that one tweet, so I was waiting.
That's the way it takes to get off your feet.
Oh man,
Were you awake?
I didn't believe it was real when I woke up this morning. I had to like, whew.
Too bad for Giants fans.
Nope. We deserve this. We deserve this. If there was like a championship to win in off season, I promise you we won it. Like, you know, I promise you we won it. That was probably the best, not the best, but one of the best good mornings I've had to myself in a while. So it was good. Appreciate it. This means a lot. We won in December, I'll tell you that. Yeah, good.
Tom, what would you like best about tonight?
Our resiliency. You get up, 20, 21 against a team like this. It's hard to keep them down. They're going to continue to fight, especially with their loss they had in Memphis. There's no way they just, roll over, especially a team like this, especially setting a message, trying to send especially to an Eastern Conference opponent. So understanding that they're going to continue to go and, Ab gets in foul trouble early. We continue to fight. It's Kevin, it's J.A., it's all of us. You can't really guard Giannis with just one person. We force him into some tough ones. But at the end of the day, he had 45, but, we won and we made it tough. And we did a lot of really solid things on the offensive end. They had, 106 points? Outside of a few threes at the end, we almost held another team like this to under 100 points or to 100 points. That's something to look back on. And offensively, man, it's just a group effort. It's continuously a group effort doing different things. And, we looked really good. We got some things we can clean up. That's natural. But when you go against a team that's been together this long, after the 2 games that we had over there, to come here and protect home court, that's big time.
Chelsea.
how seriously athletic. JB talked about the poise that you guys have throughout the game. How have you seen that grow throughout the season, and how is this just a really good example of that poise?
I think it's night and day. I think you look at the first 2 games we played. They set the tone in the second half, and I think we were able to do that this game. I think whether it was on the shots weren't falling or we getting stops. Shots are falling and we're continuously getting stops. And we gave up some different looks. But at the end of the day, how do you respond? They cut it to 8, cut it to 9 or 8. We responded right back to put it up to 18. That's the testament of a team that's wants to win and continue to grow. And now he's got to continuously do it and be consistent. And, we look at nights like tonight, we'll see these games continuously. But when you get later in the season, you look at nights like this, and, all right, this is what we can be. This is what we've done. We've shown we can do it, and we just got to continue to be consistent.
What are those conversations in, especially the second half, I guess, when they're going on those runs, holding that poise, are you guys talking about that, or is it just kind of a reminder of hey, we can do this?
Well, I think having those first 2, I would call them blowouts in the third, I think those definitely help because, one, we have film to look at what we did wrong, and personally for myself, I looked at, the way I started the second game, and I gave up 2 defensive plays right away. It's 5 points. JB calls timeout, take a bad shot, and then it leads to another possession. So for me personally, I wanted to come in and set the tone, and I think everybody in that locker room would say the same thing about themselves. They had a personal moment where they can look at in the third and say, if I don't let him get middle, or if I get a box out, or if I cut harder. And I think we all took that to heart. I think we all watch film, we all study the game, and you see that in our efforts that were made today.
Jeff Shedon is Herald. You didn't have Jarrett Allen the first game in Milwaukee, and he got hurt early in the second. So what difference did he make for you guys tonight?
Well, I could start offensively because we all know defensively, but he 8 of 10, 19 and 8. He's there being the pest, sending the screens, rolling, getting down there, dunking on the roll. But defensively, when you got to deal with both Evan and J.A., it's tough. It's tough to continuously throw all those bodies at you and to make plays. And to Giannis's credit, he still found a way to get 45. But J.A., I think those 2 guys deserve high consideration for all defensive team. I know we have a ways to go for that, but I think you look at, especially J.A., you look at us when he's out and when he's out there and when he's not playing. There's a big difference because he really holds the fort down for us, and we all know that, we all appreciate that, and he's going to continuously make nights hard, and it also helps when you have Evan Mobley right next to you as well. So they play really well together in that space, and we feed off them defensively. They get biases, I go ahead and try them, and we got to have their backs. But J.A. especially has really held the fort down, especially defensively.
Dan.
Danny Cunningham, ESPN Cleveland. What makes Drew Holiday so difficult to play against?
Man, so many different things. He's physicality. He's right there. He's quick. He's agile. He's able to use his hands. You look at the steal he got on me in the fourth. You look at the steal he got on Darius in the fourth. He got me in Utah. We played in Utah on a double drag, double screen, going right, and he doesn't never get screened. And I lost him. And he comes back on this side and gets a steal and picks it. I don't think anybody else in the league can probably do that. He's a guy that, I've had battles with him when he was in New Orleans since my career started. And I'm familiar with him, and we continuously go at it. And, I got the utmost respect for Drew's game because I don't even want to call him underrated anymore because, I think that he's at a point where people know, and I say people, not just NBA players, but you guys and fans. But he's a guy that just, on a nightly basis, what you're getting from him defensively, and then offensively to have 9, 8, and 9, contributing, stuff that I honestly thought it was a quiet 9, 8, and 9, but making those smart veteran plays, continuously finding ways to impact the game. He's a hell of a player.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. There's a moment there down the stretch where they cut it, I think, to 8 or 6. But there was a defensive play that you made when I think it was Grayson Allen and Javon Carter in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You ran them both off the line, and then you ended up getting the tie up.
Mm-hmm.
What goes through your mind when you have to defend 2 shooters like that and then make that play?
The biggest thing that hurts, it's like a dagger, especially at home, is when they hit those corner threes. Run them off the line and make a play. And like I said, I don't make that play. My past years in my career, I think, the play earlier where Drew Holiday made the Euro step on me was too easy, and DG let me know it, strap up, and I think for me, like I said, I take pride in that, but having, continuously being challenged by my teammates and by my coaches to make those plays. And, if I give that up, I who knows what the result is, that it's a dagger of a shot. So just trying to run guys off the line and just make a play. And, not trying to let them get middle, knowing Grayson, I've played with Grayson, so knowing he wants to get back to that Euro to the right hand and just made a play.
And then kind of a lighter note, but you and Drew going back to back with 40-foot bank shots.
God.
Have you ever done that before? Have you ever been in a game where that's happened?
I knew it was going to happen because Love and I started celebrating after I hit it. And the basketball guys, they don't like that too much. Like you got to be able to play the full quarter. You got to play it out. And as the pass came, I watched it. And in my head, I was like, you should probably go for it. And I was like, no, he's not going to make it. And then he shot it. And I was like, sorry. I was like, he really might make this. And then he made it. I couldn't help but laugh. Like Drew and I laughed at each other. That was just what happens when you celebrate too early. That's ultimately what it is. It's kind of like when the guy who was running the marathon started doing this, and the guy ran right by him. It's exactly the same thing.
Real quick, just playing against Joe, seeing him on the floor
After all, he got me with that offensive foul. Oh, he does that to me in practice every day. But it's so great to see Joe back. It's so great to see him back out there, man. I was there when he had that catastrophic injury. We've been through a lot together, him and I, and he's a big reason. As much as I give Ricky credit, Joe's a big reason as to why I am who I am today, as far as a leader, my poise, understanding the game, understanding where to put people. Joe's been a big part of that. I owe a lot to Joe, and I'm appreciative of him. But it's so great to see him back. He's still getting back to his stuff, but it's great to see one of your guys, consider a brother. You've been to war with him 1,000 times, and it's good to see him back out there.
All right, Evan, then Joe G to wrap it up.
Evan Baylor right now with Donovan. To go off Kelsey's question a little bit, just the poise this team has, and it's a young team, but are you already seeing the guys just kind of growing up in real time, like winning big games like this? You've beaten Boston twice now in pretty spectacular fashion. You beat Milwaukee for the first time this season. Like, are you noticing just a little bit of growth and maturity from the rest of your teammates?
I think you're seeing it I see it honestly in the huddles. We're always going to be laughing and happy. You see it in the locker room, the happy-go-lucky guys in the locker room and shoot-arounds, and you're seeing it with the approach in the game. And the one thing I'm used to old angry guys like Joe, like in the mornings having to wake his kids up at 6 a.m. So these guys come in with a different energy, coming in light, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just for us to have that mindset. You see it in shoot around when we come in, you see the light, the energy, and then to come in and lock in, the growth that has happened in just a matter of 3 months is incredible. Especially when the lights are at its brightest, the pressure's at its brightest, big games. And we can only get better. We can continuously get better. But like I said, we have a long way to go, but we've made a lot of progress, a lot more progress than I think anybody in this room, anybody's locker room thought we were making. That's a testament to our young guys. It's a testament to JB. It's a testament to everybody in this organization for believing in each other and holding each other accountable, at the end of the day, and to being able to be happy, lucky, keeping that joy, because this is a long season. But then also when it's time, like I said, DG was like, hey, you got to strap up. That conversation doesn't happen the first week, 10 games of the season, but being able to grow into that. And I talked to him the other day just about having that. He's holding guys accountable. Now it's Mar, now it's Isaac, now it's Evan, now going down the line, it's a testament to everybody in that locker room, and we can only get better.
Whenever you're at the free throw line, you kind of collect your thoughts and let out, you exhale. Is it just part of a ritual you have, or a routine?
Yeah, I put myself to the last place that I made 5 in a row. I put myself in that space. So typically at home, it's been shoot around or pregame, but I kind of put myself not in the arena, kind of silence myself, and that's been that way pretty much my whole NBA career. In college, I kind of found myself playing in the Yum Center. You're all over the place. It's 24,000 people. You're screaming, whatever. So that's really kind of calmed me and grounded me and keep me in the same, be where my feet are, but also understanding that intense focus.
All right, Joe, wrap it up for us, please.
Joe G. Keswick on Donovan took a season high 16 free throw attempts tonight. Is that a matter of you consciously forcing the action to get to the line?
Yeah, the first half I couldn't make a shot to save my damn life. So just trying to find ways to impact the game, and just continuously get into the free throw line, trying to force the issue. Giannis had 5 fouls. Brook Lopez he didn't have 5 fouls. He had 4 fouls, excuse me. So trying to attack him because he doesn't want to foul, obviously, trying to get into the paint. making Drew have to continue to chase me into the paint, and when they do help kicking it, but just trying to force the issue and force myself into the game without having to just shoot it, every time, because I wasn't making shots, and that's just part of, trying to find different ways to impact the game on the offensive end.
Okay.
Thanks, Dominic.
That happens in the winter.
That is snow more, I guess.
What?
That snows more.
Yeah.
It's
It does.
colder. It doesn't snow all the time in here, but it's colder.
For a reason.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
In
move
case you
that.
ever go there.
No. Stay in the car.
Yes.
Chaos.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Darius, JB was talking about the poise that you guys had tonight. What did you see from that end, and how have you seen that grow throughout the season?
I mean, we held the lead for a long time. I mean, that's just shown one way. I think early on in the season, I think we would have probably gave that game away. But yeah, I mean, I think we had great poise. I think they cut it to like 4 in the fourth, and I think that's when everybody started like panicking a little bit, like in the ring, like you feel the tension a lot. But I think we did a really good job coming down to the fourth and just holding our own on the defensive end and getting good quality shots on the offensive end as well.
Not just tonight, but just kind of in general. JB's talked about how, like, in timeouts and huddles and everything, sometimes he's tries to be more positive with you guys to help you through ups and downs throughout the game. How important is that, especially just kind of in moments in the flow of a game, to give you guys that confidence?
Super important. Our whole team is just about positivity. Doesn't matter what's going on. And I think that helps us a lot because we know that we can go out there and just play our games instead of just worry about something that happened possessions later before. So just try to have that next up mentality, that next possession mentality, and just worry about the next play and not worry about the pass as much.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, Darius. Building off that a little bit, they did cut it to 5 in the fourth quarter. How do you avoid having another uh-oh moment given what happened in the 2 previous meetings against Milwaukee?
Getting stops, quality stops. Everybody knew the ball was going to Giannis, and we just tried to clog the paint, just give Jay as much help as we can, and then just work back out to the shooters. And I think we did a really good job of that tonight. I mean, we let him have 45, and the next guy had 14. I think we did a pretty good job on the defensive end of just try to limit something on their end. So I think we did a really good job, and I mean that just giving a lot of credit to Jay and Evan just putting their bodies in front of them. I mean that's a big dude coming down at you full speed like that. So like I said, just getting quality stops when we really need it.
Speaking of Jay specifically, how do you describe the nightly impact that he has on the defensive end for you guys?
I mean, he's heart and soul of a defensive end. Like you said, he does it night in, night out for 48 minutes every day. So, I mean, he's really huge. Him and Jarrett, him and Evan are really huge. So, I mean, they're the quarterbacks of this defense, and everything revolves around them. So we need them every night. We try to have their back every night. And they know what to do. We know what to do to win. And that's what we try to do every night.
Spencer Davies, basketballs.com. Going back to when they cut it down, Donovan had a position where he ran both Grayson Allen and another shooter, I think it was Javon Carter, off the line by himself. And then you guys got 2 points the other way. When you see that kind of individual defensive effort for him to put multiple efforts in, what does that do for you as a teammate?
I expect that out of Donovan. I mean, we got him over here so he can do little things like that. I try to stay on him as much as I can, just on defensive end, so we can both compete at a high level. I mean, he scores a lot for us, but we definitely need him on the defensive end just to work a little bit. So, I mean, that possession, that was huge for us. That was a big possession just to run 2 guys off the line, especially Grayson Allen. That's a really good shooter like that. So the second effort, the multiple efforts is what we need out of him.
Kind of building off what you just said.
Holding him accountable. Have you found yourself more vocal as just the season's gone on? And is that something that you've tried to kind of do yourself, or has that he kind of pulled it out of you?
I mean, I've been doing that for a while now. I've been trying to just get my voice out a little bit more. But I mean, that's my job as a leader of this team. Just try to hold people accountable. And I got on Donovan a little bit in the fourth quarter. So I mean, it's a back and forth thing. That's a point guard, shooting guard thing. We're gonna have our tough times, and when we got to get in each other, we're gonna do that. So tonight was the night, and he came up big with the 2 closeouts. He got a huge stop on Grayson with the jump ball, and I mean, I think that's what really started our defense in that last 2